David here with Fig Boudon Pens. I have something special for you today. What I have are 3 Maki-e pens sold exclusively through the website Ingaika.com. I have 3 pens from their Wancher brand. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of the parts and features of these pens, some of the things I care for and some of the things I don't care for. I'm going to show some measurements, some size comparisons, a writing sample, and if you stay tuned during the writing sample, I have a giveaway as well. It's not one of the pens, it's something a little bit different. Wancher is the in-house brand of Ingaika.com, and which is a website based in Ohita, Japan. And which is kind of in the southern part of Japan. And Ingaika was founded back in 1987 and offers a wide variety of pens, and they specialize in Japanese brands like Sailor and Pilot and Platinum. And Ingaika actually means horticulturist in Japanese, and that a horticulturist is a person who uses scientific as well as artistic knowledge to give the best care for every single plant in their garden. And it's Ingaika's goal to take care of their customers in the same fashion. Wancher originates from an old Chinese word, banka, which means pioneer. And Teizio Okazaki, I apologize if I'm getting the name wrong, is the president of Ingaika, and that he has said that in this modern world, a lot of information can be easily accessed by different means, but sometimes the good values are buried in that mound of information, and that Wancher is a pioneer who discovers these hidden beauties and brings them to people all over the world. So that's their kind of their corporate branding. Wancher, the Wancher Kosen Oshida collection is what I would describe as an entry level into the world of Maki-e. Kosen Oshida is the Japanese artist who paints each of these pens, and I have 3 of them here to show you. I purchased one of them for myself, and Ingaika was kind enough to send 2 along as well for me to show you as well. So here's the box. The box isn't anything special, it's just plastic. And inside is one of the pens. So let's go over the parts of the pens first, and then we'll get to the more important part, which is the artwork. The pen is a black resin covered in lacquer paint. And that we'll start here with the finial, and you see it's just rounded. There's no logos or anything like that or branding on the top. And then we have a cap band here, and it's all one piece. And then we have a very interesting clip. Take a look at this clip. That it is in the, basically it's likened to an elephant. You can see its eyes and its tusk, and then the bottom of the clip is the trunk, which I think is kind of cute. And it has a decent amount of spring to it. It doesn't feel like a flimsy clip at all. Then we have a faceted cap band, or it's basically smooth with one row of facets that go around it. And then the barrel tapers down slightly, and then we just have a black rounded section at the end. If it does have a snap cap, and you unsnap it to reveal this 2-tone IPG nib. You know, and of the 3 I received, they each wrote a little bit differently. That these pens are only offered in one size, and I'd say that this is more of a Japanese medium, so it's kind of like a Western fine. But 2 of the 3 needed a little bit of tuning, so that you might need a little bit of tuning to get this to fit your specific tastes. As I mentioned, this is an IPG nib, which stands for Iridium Point Germany. And if you want a little bit more information on IPG nibs, SBRE Brown has a fantastic video all about IPG nibs and their features, and that's something that's very worthwhile. And then here's a picture of the plastic feed that's underneath as well. Now it does have a somewhat narrow section, but it's not so narrow that it's uncomfortable. And we have a gold band here at the end, and then a section that tapers up, and it's slightly flared at the end, or kind of a ring around the end. This is a cartridge converter pen that accepts standard international converters. It's not provided with a converter. They provide one ink cartridge with it, but if you have a standard international, then that converter will fit just fine. You can post this pen now and write with it very comfortably. It is a rather light pen, and so it doesn't back weight it at all, but I'm unsure exactly where the friction is happening when you post the pen, if it's completely on the end here or if it's on the paint. And if it was on the paint, I probably wouldn't want to post it, just because I wouldn't want to harm the paint here at all. So I particularly don't post this one, just because I'm afraid of hurting the paint. But then again, it might be resting on the end and is perfectly fine. Now, like I had said, that I have 3 of these pens, and so let's take a look at the different models that I have here. This first one is called Cranes Flying, which features an orange-red sun and some flying cranes. Then the next model is called Spring and Autumn, which has some really nice flowers and some birds. And then the final one is called Gold Foliage Rising Sun. And that one has kind of a mountain seascape with some ships. And of the 3, that one's my favorite. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at the Gold Foliage Rising. It is covered completely in, or not completely, but covered in gold lacquer paint. And it has some really nice detail to it. Here's a close-up. One is, I kind of like that the ships are just sails. It's just an interesting technique that is used so that it gives the artistic impression of a ship without necessarily having to draw the entire ship. It just kind of represents it. That it has some extraordinarily thin lines. I mean, it must be a brush with only like a single hair on it. And that it has some very nice shadings on some of the mountains as well. Each pen takes Kosa no Shida approximately 2 months to complete. Now, that's not 2 months working on the same pen, mind you, that he starts on one pen and then makes his way through a batch, and a good portion of that time is drying time. And by no means am I an art critic, but I feel like this is quality handmade art, as opposed to something that is mass-produced. These pens are exclusive to Engaika and cost $65, which is a decent price for the quality of art you receive. And for this pen, the focus is the art. Overall, I'd say the pen is of medium quality. It's not cheap by any means, but it's not a name brand pen. It's not like some of the other Maki-e's that you might see, which are some of the Sailors or the Namikis, where the artwork is fantastic as well, and the price of those pens can literally get into the tens of thousands of dollars. So what you are buying here is a medium quality pen that you might need to get some tuning in order to get it where you would like, but each pen has some hand painted art, which I really like. And with this gold one, I keep finding little details in here that I didn't notice previously, so I like the art on this one a lot. If you'd like to purchase this pen from Engaika or anything else on their site, if you use the code FIGBOOT, which is with a capital F, during checkout you'll receive a 7% discount off your entire order. And that's not just these pens, that's anything on their site. And especially when it comes to some of the Japanese brands like Sailor and Platinum and Pilot, that they have some of the best prices that you could find anywhere. The prices are outstanding. So now, if you're in the US and you're ordering something overseas, that will require a little bit more patience. It's not going to be something where you order today and receive it in 2 days. You'll need to have a bit more patience, but the longer wait is a decent trade-off for the substantial amount of money that you could potentially save on certain brands. And again, use the code FIGBOOT with a capital F in order to receive an additional discount. I wanted to thank in Geico for providing these pens for me to review. As I mentioned, I purchased one for myself, and the other two will be heading back to Japan here in a bit. On another note, I'm looking forward to the Triangle Pen Show this weekend. If you see me walking around, then feel free to come up and say hi. I'd love to hear from you, and I'm looking forward to checking things out at the show. I have a few things on my shopping list that have been hard to find online that I'm going to see if I could potentially find there at the show. So here we go with some measurements, some size comparisons, and then I'll provide a writing sample, and then stay tuned for information on a giveaway. So here we go with some size comparisons for the Wancher Maki-e pens. Here it is compared to a Pilot Metropolitan, and then here it is with a TWSBI Eco, and then here it is with a Pilot Prera. So you can see it's a little bit larger than Prera. It's just slightly larger than the Metro. And then for some other comparisons, this is it with a Lamy 2000 and a Sailor King of Pen, and then a Pelican M600. So it's similar in size to the 600 as well. So here we have the Wancher, and we'll just call it the Maki-e. Now this doesn't say what the size of this nib is. It really feels like a medium. And the ink I'm using here is the Wancher Imari Blue. This is what the bottle looks like. They have a few different in-house brands for the ink, or a few different in-house colors for the Wancher ink, and I find it to be pleasant. It's a nice blue. This is what it looks like. It's kind of a darker blue. I find it to be similar to something like the J. Herbin Ocean Blue, the 1670, but without the shimmer in it. It's flatter. It doesn't have as much pop to it. It's kind of similar in color to the Ackerman Shocking Blue, but it doesn't necessarily have the sheen of the Ackerman ink. But that's the general family that's in. And the giveaway that I have is that I'd like to give this bottle of ink away. So today is Wednesday, or actually it's Saturday, May 28th, 2016, and that all you have to do is just leave a comment in the YouTube comments here under this video, and at sometime after midnight Eastern on Wednesday, May 1st, I will select a winner and then contact you through YouTube and then send along this ink to you. So make sure to leave a comment, and you could win this ink. So here we go with the rest of the writing sample. As I mentioned, that this nib is an IPG nib, and this one wasn't that bad. I didn't have to do too much tuning to it, but on a couple of the other ones, they were had a little bit more feedback than I personally care for, and so that I had to smooth some of those out. So that might get a little bit more inconsistency in regard to nib performance, but they're fairly easy enough to work on. And this nib does perform fairly well, and that since I smoothed it out a little bit, I enjoy it. That it is a steel nib, and so you're not going to get a ton of line variation. That starting off with very little pressure and increasing it, it doesn't have a ton of variation. And I wouldn't necessarily say this lays down a ton of ink. I'd say it's medium in regard to the wetness. And in regard to reverse writing, it doesn't keep up as much, but it's kind of an extra fine line, but it's not too bad. It can be done. And then in regard to some fast writing, the feed keeps up just fine. So we have the Wancher Maki-e pens, and that if I wanted to thank Engaika.com for providing these pens, as well as the discount code. If you enter the discount code FIGBOOT with a capital F, it doesn't work if you do use a lowercase f, that's going to get you 7% off of any order. So that's these pens as well as anything else on their website. And like I said, for some of the Japanese brands, they have some incredible pricing that you can't really see anywhere else. So we have here the gold foliage, we have the summer and autumn, and then the cranes flying. I know we didn't take a close look at some of these other ones, but I really like the flower pattern and the bird pattern on the summer and autumn, and the coloring on the flying cranes was nice as well. Really the orange red sun shows up nice on this one. And and each of these are unique, so there's going to be small variations between each one because these are handcrafted. And I've seen several pictures and was really looking closely to see what variations there were. And yeah, there was variations in all of these pens. But as an introduction to Maki-e, I think you really can't beat the price of this pen as something that is an individual piece of art and an introduction to the world of Maki-e. So. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.